Hi friends, welcome back to The Daily. This is Adriana. So good to be back here with you as we are beginning to open up our theme of the month for August, which is generosity. And generosity is so luscious. It's just so ripe with these feelings of kind of like bigness and abundance and plentifulness. That it is one of my absolute favorite topics. So for practice today, we're doing a little bit of a part two from our practice yesterday and just working with starting to really intentionally bring this attitude or this view of generosity to the simplicity of our meditation practice. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, there are all of these different kind of attitudes that we can bring to our practice. You know, the attitude of like, hurry up, let's get to the good part. I just want the benefits. Like, is this working yet? Maybe the attitude of like, I just have to check this off my list and get it done. So really intentionally starting to bring this attitude of generosity to the form of our practice itself. Really kind of taking on this attitude that we are offering something. We're giving something. Which is that we're giving our attention, this precious resource of our attention, to ourselves. We're giving our attention to whatever it is that might need our attention. You know, if you have any kind of like tender stuff that comes up in meditation practice, which, you know, just as an American, we have these wonderful kind of phrases or colloquialisms when it comes to our attention, which is that we pay attention, right? We pay attention as though it's a currency, or we give our attention as though it is some kind of resource that we're offering out. And if you've been practicing with me for any amount of time, you've probably heard me go off on a whole spin about the attention economy, which, make no mistake, our attention is a form of currency. It is a precious resource. We do not live in a information economy anymore. Information is so cheap that it's free, right? You can Google anything and find that information in like 30 seconds or less. But it's our attention, it's our eyeballs, it's our clicks, it's our interest, it's our desire, all stemming from paying attention as this precious resource. So we're bringing that same kind of attitude of just being really generous with our attention, as though we're offering something to ourselves, we're giving something to ourselves, paying attention to ourselves, paying attention to what arises, paying attention to any information that we might receive to ourselves from ourselves in meditation practice. Really just taking the view that meditation itself is an act of generosity. So bringing that view onto the cushion today, we're going to keep it really simple, really spacious, but just holding this attitude, holding this view that we have something to give to ourselves from ourselves. So wherever you happen to be, taking a moment to decide on your seat. And once we've landed, as always, maybe just giving our bodies a quick once over, making sure that yes, indeed, this is where we want to be. And if you're not feeling an upright position, I really want to encourage you to offer yourself the generosity of laying down or taking some kind of position that does feel good. So again, generosity is the name of the game. We're not holding out on ourselves here. And then once we have found our seat, it's taking a moment to decide on our gaze. So eyes open or eyes closed. And taking a few moments as always just to open our practice by opening our senses. And really just arriving here fully through our senses. And shifting the attention over to sound. Just receiving the sounds of the space that we're in. Perhaps any sounds that are available from my side of things, intermingling with the sounds that are available on your side of things. Really just resting here in the field of sound. And staying open to sound, shifting the attention to touch. So taking a few moments to really just land. And feeling the weight of the body. And all of those tiny points of pressure where the body makes contact. Against the chair, the floor. Feeling where the body meets the body itself. Taking in the texture of clothing against our skin. Temperature of the air. And whatever space that we occupy here, really allowing ourselves to occupy it fully. Really taking up space. Again, this sense of bigness, plentiful, abundant. And just filling that space fully. Dropping the attention into the feet. Feeling the feet here. Maybe even wiggling a toe or two. Tracing the attention across the shin bones. Circling the kneecaps. Grazing along the thighs. And landing in the hips. And again, just feeling the space, the bigness that we occupy here. Moving the attention to the tailbone, the sacrum, base of the spine. And slowly, deliberately, with a lot of generosity, no rush, walking the attention across the lower back, middle back, upper back, just a light extension at the crown of the head. Grazing the attention across the slope of the forehead, space between the eyebrows. Just releasing any tension that may have collected here. Grazing down the bridge of the nose into the jaw. Maybe even rocking the jaw back and forth in its cradle. Releasing any clenching that might be happening here. Dropping the attention into the belly, the chest, and maybe even just resting here for a few extra beats. Noticing if there's any residual mood or emotion that's taken up residence in this space in the body. Maybe anything that we're bringing into practice. Just getting a sense of what we're working with today. No need to shift it or change it. Again, just the generosity of our own recognition. And then locating the breath in the body. Getting a sense of how the breath moves in the body today. Feeling into its depth, its texture, its cadence, its rhythm. Again, without changing or manipulating the breath. We're just standing by, bearing witness, feeling the way that it is. And then wherever, however the breath is most available in the body today, it's dropping our anchor of attention here and continuing into practice. Just using that singular instruction that as our minds wander, which they naturally will, we're just noticing when we've left our breathing, acknowledging what captures our attention, and then gently, firmly back to the breath in the body. So there's a decent chance as we settle into practice together that we're just getting a really clear sense of our quality of mind today. Again, just getting this front row view of our own interior state. And it might be that we find we're practicing with a particularly speedy mind or restless mind, maybe a planning mind, agitated mind, maybe a spacey mind. Whatever quality of mind we find that we're working with, just meeting it with the spirit of generosity, dropping that edge of self-aggression, this sense that it should somehow be different or better, and just allowing our mind to be what it is, sincerely at this moment. And again, when we find ourselves drifting out to sea, no big deal. In that tiny gap of recognition, just acknowledging where we've landed and feeling the body breathe. So as always, just a bit of encouragement to keep the window of our senses cracked open. And just continuing to come back to our senses in a very literal way. Feeling the weight of the body. And really just allowing ourselves to occupy this space fully. And feeling the pressure where the body makes contact. And taking in the texture of clothing on the skin. And temperature of the air in the room. And receiving the sounds that are available around us. And maybe even noticing if this anchors our practice in a different way. This continual opening to our senses, receiving what already is. Feeling the vacillation of breath in the body. And again, just allowing ourselves to be here. This is it. And then in our final few moments of practice together, it's taking the opportunity to reconnect to what it is that brought us here today. Why yes, why make the effort? It doesn't have to be profound as long as it's honest. Just keeping that intention fresh. And then whatever that is for us, maybe just closing out with some sweetness. Hand on the heart, maybe offering ourselves a kind word. It's being really generous and lovely to ourselves. And then as you're ready, just allowing formal practice to drop. Maybe rolling out the wrists, wiggling the toes, stretching the arms, movement in our body. And then allowing formal practice to drop. And coming back in together at your own pace, no rush. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your practice. Thank you for being so generous as to invite us here at the Daily into your meditation practice with you. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Enjoy. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow.